introduce our next act, even though I can't really get over how distorted our vision can become, and how we do things intentionally or unintentionally such that our vision can become so skewed. But I'm gonna try to sort of settle and move us from one form of theater, the form of theater in diorama, to theater on Zoom, and where Amiya NAGPAL with Siv Grayson and Mamelo Maketa will bring us through a series of wormholes of infrastructure that somehow pieces through and weave together what we know as life through sticky starches, you know what I mean later, song playlists, bloody socks, and jazz.
It looks so small and helpless in the box. I had the urge to crush it. My first thought wasn't about how gross that was, but rather I fell to some old notions of piety that my mother had passed down to us. I thought I'd best do it with my left hand so as to not dirty my right, with which I eat, you see. Though I suppose I could have crushed it, cooked it, and eaten its tiny body, in which case it really wouldn't have mattered if I used my right. Not much in the way of fine dining, however. As I was thinking these things, my sister, with her bloody foot, was trying to forcibly feed the bird water. And in retaliation, I think, the bird flew straight at her. It was weak though, and it fell to the floor, landing in the same bloodied spot that her foot had been. To think, we laughed. We really laughed, and until we realized how absurd it is. Both of them covered in the same blood. Her foot was bigger than the bird still, and she could have stomped on it, but I don't think she was thinking like I was. You know what I think? I think the bird was a fool for trying to fly so soon. Anyways, I put some potatoes in the microwave while Tina moved it back to the makeshift nest. And a few minutes later, we heard some other birds tweeting near the window, giving some encouragement to the little one or something. It flew away on its own, and I don't even know when. It could have been right then or soon after or a few hours later. I'd left before it did. I'd lost interest. But I did see some birds flying in the blue sky. I counted 7 clouds and about 3 birds. What happened to her foot? I think it was all right, honestly. I think it was fine, but I'm sure she was quite sad about the broken glass.
You live in my dream state.
So I'm currently sharing my Spotify account with a hacker. I know what it sounds like. Just hear me out. So basically, when I listen to music, there's always a chance that he's using it. And look, I say he very specifically because we communicate through song, and he claims to be the 16-year-old European boy. So when we're online at the same time, I tell him about my day, he tells me about his, he'll press play on a song, I'll respond with one of my own. We have like full-on conversations like this sometimes, you know, going back and forth for ages. He's actually quite considerate because, you know, like I mentioned, it's my Spotify account. He's the hacker. I'm the one who pays for it. And he really does give me the space to listen to music on my own when I want to sometimes. It's really nice to have a relationship that you can't really explain. You know, I haven't thought about it before. Because Tina and I, it's the kind of relationship that's given. You know, when it comes to siblings, it's been done before. I find it's it's like having an extra appendage, but a lot more annoying.
Before I lived with worms, I lived with a jazz singer. Her house was gaudy in the way that only singers of mediocre talent decorate. The ones who are truly talented always live in either opulence or squalor, I've noticed. She liked to drink and she liked to kiss the strange men who came to the house for various manly tasks. Her temper was, well, tempestuous. She flew into fits of rage and drowned in wells of sorrow. This was not out of some sense of self, but was cultivated from years of aesthetic practice through which she hoped to capture the rhythm of jazz. Of course, these efforts were futile, but I was too unbothered to let her know. Though jazz was not her calling, she did have some positive attributes. She had flaming orange feather-like hair and was in fact a wonderful kisser, and happened to possess a remarkable collection of cups. She cherished these cups and polished them weekly, seeing glasses perched on the edge of her nose, drinking glass of wine in hand. Oh, there seemed to be an order to it. Though I never sought to inquire, only catching her in these moments, you know, when I was passing through the living room to make coffee or grab a snack in the kitchen. If I loitered too long, she would grab my upper arm with her talons and squawk, literally squawk about her travels where she had collected the cups along the way. Oh my gosh. None of these stories ever gripped me until one fine Wednesday when she showed me a pair of thick-stemmed glasses engraved with red cherries that caught my eye. I remember it was a Wednesday because she had band practice on Wednesday. And I always spent the night, with one of her bandmates or the other. These cups were amateurish in style and had been bought at some store in Vienna, a place I don't really know much about and really don't care to know more about. I nodded and I half ambled away listening, but the cups didn't leave me. I saw her use them a few times, and every time I did, I had an unbearable need to be alone with the cups. Oh my gosh. I did try to get them when she was out of the house, but she kept the cups caged away out of my reach. She didn't even need a ladder for the cups, and had I brought a ladder into the house, well, she would have been suspicious. They played on my soul for far too long, and I tried to rid my mind of the cups by looking at pictures. It's ridiculous. Looking at pictures of other wine glasses, far fancier than the wine the jazz singer owned. I tried even eating red cherries. I even took a trip to Vienna. But those cups weighed on me from the inside out. I became so absorbed with the thought of them that or by accident, I became celibate. Fortunately, soon after, the hunger for my cups began. Well, the jazz singer announced that she was selling the house, and she had become frail without me noticing. And her daughter soon arrived after to take her jazz singer mother away. And at that time, men piled into the house. And she surprisingly paid little mind to them, as, they bubble wrapped all of her tacky possessions and packed them away into neat uniform boxes. She often sang as she worked. And I noticed that they'd turn their radios louder as she did. Though we had spent a year together, we had little to say by way of goodbye. Her daughter took charge of the packing, and her mother made her promise to take care of the cups as she, the mother, had cared for the daughter. For this fact alone, I suppose, the daughter was quite neglectful. And I was able to swipe 2 cherry wine glasses with relative ease. This morning I received an email informing me that she had died. It seems she had a jazz funeral with a real jazz singer. And as I thought through this fact, one of the cups spontaneously shattered into 15 exact pieces, stabbing me in the foot. I identified the disillusion as a curse, but couldn't tell who had done the cursing. Luckily, I still have one other cup. What? Fuck.
What? Oh, shit. Your special glasses.
Just one. Hand me the dishcloth.
Yeah, sure. Well, I think we're gonna need more than a dishcloth. Did it hurt?
A baby bird hit the window. Do you mind checking on it?
Yeah, sure. What is? Oh, actually, can I have the cloth? I just need the cloth. Thanks. Okay. So, I think it's dead.
Let's make it a little cardboard nest. Once it's rested, it'll fly away on its own.
Hello? Yeah, I'd like to be connected to the slugs and snails department. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know the correct terminology. I swear. Yeah, so I think I saw some slugs. They were pretty cool. Or perhaps actually thinking about it now, maybe they were snails. Yeah, no, they were big. And they had shells. Okay. No, I'm sorry. I really don't know. I'm not. Okay, cool. Yeah, Mana's operator is fine. Okay, thank you. Okay, sorry again.
$800 mollusk.
Hi. Yes. So I got connected to you. Yeah. I saw some mollusks. Yeah, they were big. They had shells. I thought slugs didn't have shells. Or are those leeches? Oh, I'm so sorry. I really don't know, man. Yeah. Uh-huh. Yes. 7. 6 alive, 1 potentially dead. Whoa. There's no need to yell. It's not like I heard them. Hey, dog, nah, man, you mind your tone. Look, I'm simply calling to report sightings like we were told to in training. Don't give me that bullshit. Please don't cry. Please don't cry. Please. What? Like, I don't weep every time a human being dies. That would just be selfish. Shellfish. Do you get it? Shell? Do you get? Oh, no. I don't need to be connected to shellfish. No.
$800 crustacean.
Shit.
I knew it wasn't dead. It flew away as though it couldn't get rid of us fast enough. I was watching it the whole time, and quite soon after other birds came its way, and it felt safe enough to fly away, it did. I wonder if it felt captive. As though we were dangerous. If I was that small and confronted with something as large as us, I might have felt that way too. My blood, in which it landed when it fell the second time, had dried on its feathers, leaving them brown and crusty, like when he spilled ketchup on a sweater. And when it left and took my blood with it, I felt as though a part of me was leaving with it too, moving on its own volition. The thought made me giddy and a little aroused too. And the heat radiated from my heels. I took the rest of the potatoes from the microwave and I went to lie down.
A bird, dizzied, enters a frame. Enters, dizzying a frame. Wears a coat of red before leaving. Leaves not as it enters, leaves with much more. With bedroom, kitchen, tenants, and whole building in tow. Punk materiality. Reach farther than grasp. Biomass cascade. Same bird in flight, zooming out of frame. Zoom out, close up to mid-shot to wide shot, exponentially unfolding. A bleeding perimeter, an overflowing container. A bursting seam, a mise-en-abyme, beaming appetite for bebop, but no appetite for focal length. Grammar of movement, movement for high bandwidth, an assertion of life in excess of affordances given. An invitation divined of unsorted sorts. Long-distance haptics for movement permits that only abundant movement permits.